In this video, we will search, sort, and lazy load items using Vue 3 with Composition API. So, before we start coding, I will explain you the difference between the frontend and the backend here. The backend, when we inspect, if we search and we sort and also load more items, we will send a new request to the backend. So everything is done in the backend side. If we go to the frontend, if we search and also we sort, we won't send any request to the backend. So everything will be done in the frontend side. So this will be the two pages that we will create, and we will see the difference between the frontend and backend filtering. Before we start building the app, I would like to remind you that this video can be combined with other videos. So if you want to use Vue with any of these backend frameworks with MySQL or MongoDB, I provided some links in the description of this video. If you don't want to build a backend, don't worry, I have a solution for you. Also, make sure to check scalablescripts.com. Now let's use the backend without actually building it. So if you already build the backend, you can skip this part. If you don't want to build a backend, then first download Docker and download the right version for your machine. Once you download Docker and installed it, you can use this repository. I will clone this repository and I will open my terminal and run git clone this repository. Now it is cloned. Let's go to the folder, and here I will run docker compose app -d, and this will pull all the images and it will build our backend. Now let's wait till this is completed. So everything is ready now. We created the images. Still we need one last command, which is this command. I'll copy it, paste it here and run it. And now our backend is running on port 8000. So go to localhost port 8000, and this is our backend running in Laravel. Now let's start building the app. Now let's create the project. So first make sure to have installed the Vue CLI and run Vue create, and now we need the name of the project. I will call it Vue Search. I will manually select the features, and I will select the router, and I will not select the linter and the formatter. So this is what we want. I will select the version 3, and I will pick the others by default. Now let's wait till it's completed. Now everything is installed, and open the project with my IDE. So I'm using WebStorm here. And to run this project, run npm run serve. Now Vue will run on port 8080. So this is our running Vue app. Now let's make some changes. So now go to the source folder. We will remove the assets here. We will remove this component. In the router, we will remove all the routes here. I will keep this as an empty array. I will remove this. In the views, we will remove them also. And in the app.view, let's remove this HTML here. So for the moment, I won't remove it because we have to change it with Bootstrap. So go to getbootstrap.com, click get started, and copy here the CSS link. Go to the public folder, And here we need to paste this CSS, these styles for Bootstrap. So we have done this. Now go to examples and click the album example. Here view the page source, and we will copy just a small part of the HTML, which is this div with album class till the first column. So this is the only HTML that we need. Go to the app.view here, and we have to change this HTML to this that we just copied. Is missing some closing divs, so we have to close them. And that's it. So this will look like this. So now we need also a menu, and we have to go back and click in the examples again, the headers. So I'll click this, and we need this second header. I'll inspect this time because it's hard it's confusing to copy it when you view the page source. So I'll copy this second container here, and we need to paste it here on top. So this will look like this. Now Bootstrap is completed, we can remove it, and now let's fix this UI. So we need only two links here, frontend and backend, and this will be normal nav links. And let's create the views, which will be the frontend and the backend. So I'll create two view components, frontend and backend. So these two components will have the same HTML for the products here. So I'll create also another component. I'll call it products. So in this component, I'll cut this HTML from this div, and I will paste it in the products here. So I'll remove this, and I will use the products component in the backend component and also in the frontend component. So to use another component, use here products, and my ID already imports the products, so we have to import it like this, or another way will be to use it like this. So it's up to you. I'll use it like this. So we imported the products, and now let's use the same component for the frontend. Products here. So we imported also the products here, and now to show them on the browser we need to add them to the routes. So let's add our two routes that we need here. So the first route is with the path /frontend, and the component will be frontend. So don't forget also to import this component. And the same will apply with the backend. Component backend. And that's it. So we added the components. They both use the products. And the last change is changing these links here to a router link that points to the frontend. Also, this other one will point to the backend. And that's it. So we have frontend and backend. Not sure why are not displaying the components, but I know why, because I forgot to add here the router view. In this router view here, we will render all these two views. So with this, we can see we have the same view. Also, let's add a class when we switch the components. So in the router link here, we will add the active class to be active. So if we go to the front end or the backend, instead of this nav link, we will add also the active class when we go to the front end. And it will look like this. Now the front end and backend are similar. So let's make changes there. So first, let's go to the backend, and here we need to get the products from the backend. So I'll add setup here. We will use the composition API, and here we need to create a variable products, and this will be a reference and starting as an empty array. So let's import also this. Let's import it from Vue, like this is better. And what this ref will do is every time we change these products, it will re-render the template also. So it makes it easier for us. So to get these products, we have to call our backend. So let's do it. We have to also import on mounted. And we need to add also unmounted on the import here. And unmounted will be called once the HTML is rendered. Now, when the HTML is rendered, we will call the backend. So I'll make this function asynchronous, and here we will get a response is equal to await fetch HTTP localhost port 8000, my ID already helps me, /API/products/backend. So we will get the products from the backend here. We'll get the content, which is equal to await response JSON, and the content is are the products that we need. So to set the products, we have to use it like this. So products that value is equal to content that data. So it's not directly the content. It will have an attribute data here. So we said that we need also to return the products here, so we can use it to this component. So this component, we will add the prop here, which will be props. I'll put an array here, products. Now we have the products here, so we have to display them here, so we have to loop them. So in this call here, I will add a v4, and we will loop every product in products. We need also to add the key here, which is the product ID. And now let's fix this HTML. I will add in this SVG here an image. With the source, I will add a column here to add the product image. And we need a height, which is 200. So I added an image here. Also, this is a title. So I will add here product.title. We need also to remove this, and here we need to set the product price. And that's it. So this is the HTML that we want. So if you go to the backend, so it is not showing anything because I forgot to add the products here. So we need to add the products like this is equal to the products. So this property, which we set it here, we'll have these values which we return them here. So now that we pass the products in this component, we will see that we will have 9 products in the backend. Let's do the same for the frontend. So just like the backend, I'll copy everything here. It will be similar, but it will have some changes. So I'll add the setup and I will paste it here. So we need the products here also, but here we'll call the product frontend. And we will not have content.data here because the products are paginated in the backend. Here we will paginate it ourselves, so the content directly is what we want. And we can make it shorter, but I will keep it like that because we will use it more later. So these are the products here. We need to pass them like this. And if we go to the front end, it will be the same, just like we have more products here. So we added the products in the front end and also in the back end. Now let's add a search. So let's go to the products. Here on the top, I will add this HTML. So this is really simple. It's just an input where we have a search here. Now when we put words here, we want to filter the items. So we have to add an event here. We need to add first the setup, and here we want to emit events. So before I make any changes here, we have to create a variable here called filters, and these filters will be reactive also. So what is reactive and what is ref? So the difference between those is ref is for a single property like products, for example, and reactive is the same, but we will use a group of variables here. So there will be 3 variables that we need in these filters. The first one is the search. So I'll add only the search in the beginning, and these filters I will copy in the front end also. And we need to pass it to the products like this. So we need to add it here also, filters. So we can use it like this, filters is equal to filters. So to add this property, we have to add it here also, filters. And let's do the same for the backend. So we need to return here the filters, and we have to set them here. Filters is equal to filters. And these are the values that we will send from the backend and the frontend. We need also the event when we change something in the products here. So this event will be another function. So we have to add here emits, and we need to call set filters here. And when we search here, let's add a function search, and this function will accept an s as a variable, which is the search value, and we want to return this search value here. So when we search, we have to add the event key up. When we write key up, we have to call search with the event that target that value. So we passed the search value, and to pass this search value to the backend and the frontend component, we have to emit it. So to emit an event, we will have in the setup here props, and the second parameter is the context. So the one that emits events is the context. So we will call here context emit, and we will pass set filters here, which is this function that we want to emit, and the value will be an object that contains this search. So it will be like this: search is equal to search, but since is the same, I'll do it like this. So this is the value that we emit. Let's get it from the backend and the frontend. So first, in the backend, we have to add the event set filters like this, and we will call a function. So I will make a function load, and this will be equal to this function that we have here. I'll cut this and I'll paste it here. And when we call unmounted, I'll call load like this. And when we set the filters, I want to call, so I have to return here the load function. I want to call the load function. So every time a filter changes in the backend, we have to recall again the backend to get new data. So this load function will have also the filters there. So I'll add a variable f because I don't want to confuse it with these filters here. Now we are having an error here, so I have to call it like this. So it is a function that calls load with the filters here in the beginning. So we have to pass these filters in the beginning, but every time we set the filters in this component, we will call this function. And what do we want to do here is we have to reset the values here in the filters. So filters dot s is equal to f dot s. So we will send in the set filters here this s property, and we have to reflect it here. Now that we got the search, we have to pass it also here in the request. So I have to make a condition. So first I will create an array which is equal to an empty array. If filters.s is set, then I will push the array like this. So search is equal to filters s, and once this is set, I will change this to backticks also, and we have to add a question mark here, array join with ensign, because we will have multiple filters and we want to join them with this attribute. So with these changes, I hope you understand them all. They're required in order for us to search now. So if we search in the backend, we can see I will search with Dolores here, Dolores. We can see items are getting filtered. So we are sending the request in the backend. So the search in the backend works. We also, let's inspect. If we see the network, every time we make a change here, we are sending a request to the backend. Now let's go to the frontend and also search in the frontend. So let's go to the front end. Here things will be different. So first I'll duplicate this, and we will have two types of products. The first one is all the products, and the second one is the filtered products. And here we have to set both of them, all products and filtered products. Let's return only the filtered products here. And we have to use them here. So we need to get all the products as a variable, because if we call this function set filters, so we need to add here set filters, and I will create another function here which is filters changed. So we don't need to call again the frontend for it to filter, because we will filter here in the frontend. So when we set the filters here, we will call, let's add it here, and we need to call it here. So we need to call the filters changed function, and we will pass the variable f, which is our filter. I will also copy this line here in the backend, because we need to set the search in this filter value. We have to set it here because when this changes, it will set also the value here. Now we got the filtered value, so we have to get the products. So I'll create a variable let products, and this will be equal to all the products that value. So we don't in the ref we have everything, we have to call it by value. We have to filter them by each product. We want the title, we want to convert it to lowercase, and the index of these filters that search should be greater or equal than 0. So this should be also to lowercase. So this is the title. We have to convert it to lowercase because we don't want uppercase and lowercase problems. We convert the product title, also the search that we put, both to lowercase, and this index of this search should be greater than 0 or equal. It means that this search should be inside the title. If it is inside the title, then this returns true, otherwise it will return false. We need to add also an OR condition here. I'll copy this line because we have to do the same for the description. And we got the products here. So we got the products and we have to set them as the filtered products that value are equal to the products. So like this, we will filter the products in the front end. Let's try to search. So I'll search Dolores. And as we can see, all the items are filtered. We also filter with a description, which we currently don't show it, but this is how filter works in the front end, and we learned also to do it in the backend. Now let's add the other filter, which is the sort. So I will add this HTML here, which is just a simple drop down to sort with price ascending and descending. So let's add a non-change function here. So I'll create the sort function, and this will accept a sort value. So do not confuse the function with the value. And when this changes, so change, so we should add the sort here. We have to call sort. So just like the search, we have to emit another event. So I forgot to add the sort here, which is sort as an empty string here. So I'll do the same for the front end. I will add it here. Now that we added the sort in the backend and in the front end, we can emit it in the products here. So we have to emit the sort, but we also want to keep the last value. So if we set also the search, we don't want to change it. So how do we get the last value for the search? So in the props, we will get also the filters that we want. So this way is, I will add the spread operator here. Props.filters are the filters as they are. So we don't want to change anything there. We want to change only the sort. So we will do it like this. I will copy this and add it here also. And the same will apply also for the search. And now we are searching, we are sorting, we are finished here in the products component. Now let's go to the backend. We want also to sort now. So I'll duplicate this, and this is sort. So we added the sort in the filters, and to add another parameter here now is really simple, because I will copy this if condition. If filters that sort is set, I will do it like this. So we will push the sort is equal to filters sort, and everything will be taken care in the backend. So let's try this. We are in the backend now. Filter with price ascending. So we probably have made a mistake. So we are sending an object here. So let's go to the products. Here, when we change, we don't want to call a sort like this. This was my mistake. We want to pass the event, the target, that value here. So this was the mistake. Let's try to sort again. Price ascending, and as we can see, the first item has a price of 10, 12, 12, etc. So the price keeps increasing. Also price descending, it is the same, so the price keeps decreasing. So this was the sort in the backend. Let's sort also in the front end. So let's go to the front end. Let's add here also the filters sort like this, and now we want to sort the products. So first, if we will add a condition, if filters that sort is equal to ascending, then we will call products sort, and this will be a function that accepts a product A and a product B, and we want to return either -1, 0, or 1. So 0 is when the prices are similar, -1 is when this is lower than the second one, and 1 is the opposite. How do we want to return them? So first we'll get the difference, which is equal to a.price minus b.price. And if the difference is 0, then we return 0. So we taken care of the equal case. And now if this one is lower or this one is lower, we have to use some math now. So I'll get a constant sign is equal to math absolute value of the difference divided by the difference. So the result of this will be either -1 or 1. So in case that price is lower, we return -1 in the sign here. Otherwise, we return 1. So here we return the sign. And that's it for the ascending part. So let's see if it works. Let's sort by the price ascending. And as you can see, all the items are sorted in ascending order. So this is how this sort works in ascending order. And now we want to sort it in the descending order. So I want to add an OR condition here for the descending order. For the descending order, we need to add here a condition. So filters sort, is it equal to ascending? Question mark. If yes, we will return the sign. Otherwise, we will return minus sign. So if it is descending, we will return the opposite. And that's it for the sort. So now we can sort also descending. So as we can see now, the products are ordered in descending order, and here are ordered in ascending order. So we searched, we sort, and now the last one is the pagination. So let's add in the backend the page, which is by default 1. I'll copy this, add it also in the front end. So we added the page, and now in the products we need to add a button here in the end, which is a load more button. This will look like this, and now when we click this button, we want to add more products. So I will call here. So let's create the function load more, and let's return this function here. And when we click here, we want to call the load more function. And what this function will do, so we will send also a context emit here, but the page here will be props that filters page +1. So we will increase the page by 1 basically. And in the backend, if we increase the page by 1, nothing will happen because we will do it the same. So we have to call here page. But this still won't work because, for example, let's see it. We have these items, click load more. It doesn't work. So the problem is this, we have to set the page here as well. And let's refresh, click load more, and the items are changed as we see, but we are still seeing 9 items, so we are not adding more items here. This problem is because we need to attach more items here. So to do that, I will merge this content data with the previous product's value, and I will do it like this. So I will wrap this with as an array. I will use the spread operator here, and in the beginning we need another spread operator for the products that value, and that's it. So we will merge these arrays. Still, it won't. It has a little bug. So this will work in the beginning. So we can load more items. As we can see, this will work. But the problem is when we search. When we search, we want to filter now items, but we are instead adding more items. Why is this problem? We want to filter these items now. So to fix this, we have to do it like this. In the products, every time we search and sort this time, we have to reset the page to 1. So we have otherwise this won't work. So we have to reset the page, and in the backend we have to make the condition if the filters that page is it equal to 1 question mark, then we will return the content data here. Otherwise we will merge. This means that if we are the first page, we don't need to merge arrays. We just return whatever we got. Otherwise, if the page is greater than 1, if we go to the next page, then we will merge it with the previous data. So with this, now we can load more items. So this works fine. Now let's search here, Dolores. We can also search. We are still at the first page now because we searched, and if we load more items, we can see we are loading more items. So this is the last item. We need to remove this button. We will remove it later because we have to paginate now in the front end. So let's do the same now in the front end. Here we will add a variable per page, which is equal to 9. So I want to get 9 items per page in the front end. So now in the filtered products here, when we get the content, we want to slice this content from the first product till the filters that page, which is 1 in our case, times per page. So now in the beginning, our frontend will have 9 items just like the backend. And we need also to slice the products here in the filtered products. So I will cut this, not cut, but copy, and do it here also. So now, depending on the page, we will slice more items. So as we can see, click load more. I forgot also to add here the filters, that page. And click load more now. We are loading more items. And in the front end, we can also search. So and load more items, and also we can sort. So everything is working as it should. The last change now is removing this button once we don't find any item. So for this, we need to create another variable, last page, which is equal to, I'll call a ref here, and I will initialize it with 0. I'll copy this, add it also in the backend. Now in the backend is really simple because when we get the response, we get also the last page. So to set the last page, that value is equal to content last page. So we get the last page directly here. I'll copy this and I will return it here. And we need to pass it as a props in the product. So we will add here the last page. And we need to send it here. So last like this, last page is equal to last page. So we set the last page, and how do we want to use it here? We will add an if condition here, if filters that page if is less than last page, like this, we will show the button. If this is equal, so if the page is the same as the last page, then this button won't be shown. So this will look like this. So we still have a we are adding it in the backend. So I will search with this word, click load more, and if we go in the end, we can see that we are not getting this button. So we can search for words, we get the button, and if we go in the end, we are not seeing that button. So this is how we remove this button. Let's do it also for the front end, and in the front end here we have to calculate it ourselves, the last page. So the last page, that value is equal to math cl content that length. So how many products there are divided by per page. This is the last page. I will copy this and I will add it here before the filter products, and this time here is equal to products that length divided by per page, and we need to add the last page here, so we can set it here. Last page is equal to last page. With this also the front end will hide the button, so if we load more items, in the end we won't see the button. So we can search, and if there are no more items, we are guaranteed that we don't see the button. So this is how we search, sort, and load more items, also in the front end and also in the back end. I hope you liked this tutorial, and if you did, please also share and subscribe. Thank you.